Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you may be. Welcome back to the Pitch Perfect podcast. Here with myself, Kiki, and of course Elaine and her cat. And today we have another special guest for y'all. She is a cosplayer, a cat cuddler, a tea enthusiast, a book hoarder, and an occasional armor wearer. We have Ren. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
We're so excited to have you. You're fresh on the scene. You've started to make some waves and kind of put yourself out there. So for those who are unfamiliar with who you are, could you let us know a little bit about yourself?
Of course, I am Ren. I started playing Flesh and Blood in August, and I've started cosplaying as a part of that, and it's just really been something that I'm passionate about, and I've started trying to share that journey online, and I'm based in the United States. And yes, I do have cats. I have 4 cats, so I apologize if you hear them in the background. They desperately want to go outside because I'm sitting near the front door.
My cats interrupt every podcast.
Yeah, they're more than welcome to just come up on the screen whenever. Just don't throw them behind
We'll
you.
steal the show.
Yeah, exactly. We love cats here.
I have a quick question that I just thought of before we get too deep into this. As a cosplayer new to the scene, you just said that you started playing Flesh and Blood back in August and then started cosplaying as part of that. Did you have any cosplay experience prior, or was Flesh and Blood kind of also drew you to cosplay?
I've always really liked cosplay. Flesh and Blood has actually been really healing for the young Lauren inside of me who was in high school and before cosplay became really mainstream and you could buy costumes everywhere. I really wanted to cosplay, but I just was overwhelmed by it, didn't have the resources to, so I'd see people like Jessica Negri, all those kind of cosplayers and be like, man, they're the coolest people ever. I would love to be that one day. And then I did a few anime cosplays and stuff throughout the years and comic cosplays as well. But I didn't find a community or kind of my place in that. And also, I would make my own cosplays, but the characters that I was cosplaying were characters that had costumes that you could buy as well. And it became this weird thing where I didn't want to buy the cosplays, but I was spending all this money to make something that didn't always look that great, and I could have bought it for cheaper and looked way better. So that became kind of something that I had to deal with. So Flesh and Blood, when I saw Frankie and I realized the only way you could get her was through cosplaying, and Flesh and Blood characters, you have to make your cosplays because they're not ready-made. It really was that opportunity to kind of put myself back in the situation that I wanted to be in when I was in high school first learning about cosplay and kind of make that dream a reality for me.
Wow, wonderful. We have very similar cosplay journeys.
It's so good to hear that, I was, wondering whether cosplay or Flesh and Blood came first too. Or rather, in regards to the Flesh and Blood side of things. Obviously, cosplay's been first for a while, but that kind of answered it with seeing the Frankie and then realizing you had to cosplay for it. Kind of implies that you played the game first, so I assume that's the case.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. I actually, prior to Flesh and Blood, I was playing Magic pretty competitively, specifically Modern, and I just kind of got to a point where Universes Beyond, I'm sure you've heard about it, things are kind of weird with Magic right now, and I was feeling disillusioned by that. I also had a few negative experiences in the competitive scene of Magic where I was a little disheartened, and then I met the Flesh and Blood community and I was like, well, I'm never going back. I love it here. I want to stay playing this game forever.
Yeah, that's the same kind of vibe I had 6 years ago. Was disillusioned an intentional choice, illusion?
We'll say it was. It was definitely.
Well, speaking of playing the game, this is something that we do every week. We talk about our weeks in Flesh and Blood and how we've interacted with the game, whether it be playing or creating content or whatever. So, why don't you... Excuse me. why don't you kick us off and let us know what you've been up to this last week in Flesh and Blood?
Sure. It's actually been a busy week for me in Flesh and Blood. Last night I had some of my friends over. It was my partner's birthday, and I had some of my friends over who we played Magic with, and we were teaching them how to play Flesh and Blood with Silver Age decks, and it was really exciting. I wasn't sure how that was going to go, but everyone made a really good effort to try to understand the game and have fun with it, so I was really pleased with how it went. It really just speaks to how good Silver Age is to get new players into the game. Of course, I was making the joke all night, this is your $20 ticket to your $2 million. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you don't get it. You gotta. And then I also, speaking of Silver Age, on Sunday, there was a local circuit tournament that we have going on, and it was the first round of that, and I played in Silver Age there. I played Fi. I love Fi. He's like my guilty pleasure when it comes to Silver Age, because he's deceivingly, there are a lot of complex things to him, but he seems very easy and very oh, it's just 0, 0, 0, just put cards out. So he's like my little guilty pleasure to play, because he's much easier than the decks I tend to play for CC.
But what is your CC choice then, just out of curiosity?
I am learning Prism. I feel like sometimes like a fraud because I'm cosplaying Prism, but I am too nervous to take her out yet to armories and stuff. I'm still getting her down, but it is a goal of mine in the coming weeks to bring her out and actually play her. And Verdance. Verdance is who I got it started with on the game. Prism's who I saw, and I was like, oh, I need to play this game, which is funny because when I started playing Magic, I saw Avacyn. So it's always an angel that gets me into card games. But I was my first night trying to play, and I was like, I can't remember all of this. I'll play Verdant because I love Poison Ivy, and aesthetically they have very similar aesthetics. And then when I was like, we're decomposing, it felt so thematic that I was like, this is so much fun. I love that there's so much flavor and each deck feels really unique. And then sometimes I'll play Syndra.
And that's when you don't want to think too hard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we had that same discussion with Summer, our previous guest, about how she's been playing Flesh and Blood for a few years now, quite a few years, and she picked up Syndra for the first time, and she was just like, have I been playing this game on hard mode this whole time? What? And yeah,
y'all have the same deck choices.
Me? Us? Yeah.
Yeah, the two of you, yes.
So you have cosplay in common together, and we have deck choices. There we go.
Yeah,
Perfect
together,
match.
Ren, you are me and Kiki, yeah.
Yeah. You are our one brain cell, apparently.
Apparently. Just finding this out.
Now, Elaine, I've heard that you've had quite a good week in Flesh and Blood.
I 4-0'd Armory. I also played with you, Kiki. We played some Flesh and Blood. So by the time that this episode comes out, that will be on the channel. So yeah, I actually won every single game of Flesh and Blood I played, because now I can say that I beat you, Kiki, in both of those games. And then I 4-0'd Armory, which was super fun. I showed up to as I've talked about before, events in my area. I live in New York City. We have a lot of people and very small houses, and also very small card game shops, LGSs. With that, events, including Weekly Armory, sell out within minutes. And I'm really bad at checking my phone and just remembering things in general. So I 9 times out of 10, I miss the sign up. But I actually got a spot in PQ this Sunday coming up, which is a miracle, that I got a spot into an event. But I did not get a spot to Armory. I totally forgot. However, I still had plans to go get dinner with my locals beforehand. So I was like, I'll still come to dinner. So I went to dinner, and then I was like, might as well go to the LGS. I have things I can go do, but I'll stick around, like say hi, watch around, and then suddenly there was a spot open. You know, sometimes people don't show up, whatever. There was a spot open, and so they were like, "Do you want to play?" I didn't have a deck, but Matan, lovely local and friend of the pod, bought the Silver Age 5 precon. And so they were like, you just play with the Silver Age 5 precon. So I opened it up out the box, like right there. Didn't even have a mat, didn't have any dice. And I went 4-0. Yeah, I ended up like winning Armory so unprepared with a precon and nothing. I didn't even come to play. I didn't even bring a deck. But it was like so much fun. I haven't played Fi in a really long time. Like back in when Uprising came out, I loved Fi. I qualified for nationals on that deck, on my little draft Fi deck. I drafted a ton of Fi. I played a ton of Fi. I played Fi like a tiny little bit in CC after Briar LL'd. And yeah, I haven't played Fi since, except like, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 Uprising drafts at random when you're at events and someone just has a box. So it was really fun to get back into Fi. And also I was really proud of myself for going 4-0. That precon is good. And I feel like my matchups weren't like, it wasn't like I just kind of got handed really easy matchups. I played Briar and then Enigma, which that's an easy matchup for Fi. And then I played KO, and then I played Briar again for the 4-0 title. So that was fun.
And then of course you beat me twice as well.
And then I beat you twice on Azalea and then on Briar, which is what I thought I would play. But I think I'm gonna bring the 5 precon, maybe with a few upgrades, to my ProQuest this weekend because I had so much fun on it at Armory.
It kind of blows my mind that Fi was your favorite deck to play during Uprising, considering like that was the set that Icelander became like a reasonable hero to play.
This is like, as Rin just said, like, oh, sometimes, you know, she feels like a fraud because she cosplays Prism. So I don't know. Kiki and I are old in this game, Rin, but
I'm also just old.
Back when Everfest came out, the very first Pro Tour and the very first cosplay competition, I cosplayed as Icelander, Everfest Icelander, and met James White. And then when Uprising came out, James White contacted me and asked me to do an Icelander card reveal for that. So I made the new Icelander art cosplay, revealed the card, wore the cosplay, Icelander cosplay in at the Uprising World Premiere. And I never ever played her. And then for like, I don't know, it felt for like 3 sets after that, LSS kept giving me wizard card reveals, and which I was very grateful for, but I was like, does everyone think I'm a wizard player? And I'm not.
I mean, even as so far as...
That is really... I'm sorry.
I was saying, even as so far as like not the first, but like the first spoiler that we worked on together, granted was outside of Pitch Perfect, was still a wizard card, and you weren't even intended to be like a part of that in theory. Like here's a spoiler for you, Kiki, do what you want with it. And I'm like, this looks like a lion, I'm gonna get her in on this. And like, that's just you embody, I guess, in aesthetic sense, despite the fact that you're not a wizard.
I'm not a wizard. I'm married to one though, so maybe that's where the confusion comes from, because Ocilio I do consider my husband, but anyway.
You can't just take your husband's identity as your...
Alright.
Coincidentally, I completely forgot this, but I also won my armory, going undefeated. Just, this never happens, I think. I won one last year, and like, Anyway, it wasn't like a super huge one. It was kind of small. There was like 3 rounds. But I did. I was on Prism, which everyone tells me is a bad idea for this format, but I refused to learn anything else. And then I came up against Valda, and I was crying internally and slightly externally about how all my angels were going to get popped, and then I managed to get my opponent in that famed or hated, the infamous Arclights in the loop. And then the second game was against Katsu, where things were going well until they weren't. And I was basically dead on board, so like I was just like, I'm just gonna block out and hope you break, which is what he proceeded to do, and I proceeded to win from there. And then the third game was against Gravy, where I lost 0 life.
Wow.
And I felt great about that, and my opponent probably did not, and that's a shame for them, because they couldn't touch me. Like, in the game, literally, they did not, so. Yeah, and then I played, of course, some more Sage. Also got a Pro Quest this weekend, specifically tomorrow. And I, once again, refuse to play anything that's not an illusionist, so I've been playing Enigma. I mean, I guess I didn't play Enigma into you, Elaine. I lost those games, so we don't need to talk about that.
No, you didn't.
No, it's fine. You can watch that back. But I did play Enigma, and then I managed to beat Zen a couple of times. Felt kind of promising, because Zen's like a fairly aggressive deck. Granted, it was like some sort of unique take on it, where he would make 3 to 5 cat tokens, and then use Hope Merchant's Hood to shuffle them all away and draw 5 cards to keep the combat going. Very interesting take, but I was able to beat that, and then I played against a marionette. A marionette? Yeah. And then went 1-1 against that, so I'm feeling more confident about my deck choice going into this weekend. I hope that I don't see too many aggro decks. I don't want to see Dromai specifically, because that's just bad for me. But yeah. We did have a discussion about how you're...
Yeah, we already talked about this.
Yeah.
Privately in our DMs,
Yeah.
I guess, if we...
I Dromai top 8'd though, recently. Like, one of the events.
Okay.
So, like, and she's starting to pick up more influence. You can learn more about that on the weekly recap from Flesh and Blood's own Margin Bay's video. I just happened to be watching that last night while writing the show notes, and that came up.
Oh.
Just reminded them that we did the news video first, though. Even if it was a joke.
Even if it was a joke. Hey, anything else to cover in our weeks in Flesh and Blood?
I think that was it for me.
I have so much cat hair all over me. Yeah, wonderful then.
I like how you cat literally muted the microphone, like as he walked in front of it. Is he done?
No, he's gonna do this like, this is my needy one.
I'll just carry on. So, Ren, as I'm sure you've come across by now, cosplay is very much loved by the Flesh and Blood community. We've had guests in the past, Carolina and Max, for example. They've been championing the art form of cosplay in Flesh and Blood, and of course, Elaine has literally told us how that's how she made her name for herself in Flesh and Blood. So why does cosplay draw you in? And like, what does it add to the Flesh and Blood community from your perspective?
That's a great question. I'm a theater kid at heart, and I've always loved dressing up. My parents love to tell me this story that one time I was wearing a princess costume and somebody was being nice to me, and they came up and they're like, "Oh, hi, Belle. You look so pretty." And I was like, "Do you want an autograph?" And they're like, "I don't have anything." And I was like, "I'll sign anything." So I've guess loved that part of like dressing up and embodying characters, but I think that it's really a deeper way to engage with the game and kind of celebrate these heroes that we love so much. And something that I really appreciate about Flesh and Blood is that each hero feels so unique and different that it really does feel like you're expressing a part of who you are in a way through the characters that you like and who you choose. So I like that I get to kind of express myself further, and especially cosplaying Prism, people really love Prism, which was something that I learned when I was there in person dressed up as Prism, and it was just a fun way to connect with people and bond over these heroes that we love so much. And it's just another way to bring us all together. I just love how the Flesh and Blood community is so welcoming, and like any way for us to connect and bond deeper over the game is so welcomed and celebrated that it's just so much fun. And I have a memory when I was at a convention. It was the first this was when I was doing my learn to play Flesh and Blood, and Rachel was there dressed up as Pleiades, and I saw her, and like she was at the distance, and I was like, wow, she looks so cool. And I was like, she's probably like so like above everyone and like such a cool person. And then I met her and she was so sweet. Same with just every cosplayer I've met. They're like the most welcoming people. For my Frankie cosplay, I referenced Carlita's cosplay that she did of Frankie first. And then I met her in London. She was another sponsored cosplayer there. And I was telling her how her Frankie really inspired me. And she was like, oh, you should have reached out. I would have sent you all the information on my Frankie. And I was like, that's so refreshing to hear. Like, people don't gatekeep at all within the community. Everybody's so friendly that it just really excites me and makes me want to keep going and also give back and get more people in and have more people join and just share the love and the hobby. Especially I like playing competitive. Like, I like trying to play as clean as I can play, but I'm also not a top tier person. I'm not a pro tour level player. So this is also just another way for me to engage with the game and have like kind of my special part of the game that I'm like, oh, well, I also play, but I cosplay, and like this is my special area of the game, instead of being like, I'm winning all the tournaments, I'm a winner. It's just another special thing for me to have.
Beautiful. Well spoken. Yeah, you were talking about how like people really connect through the game, through their heroes, and that like, that definitely will bring people's like attention to the cosplayers and enjoyment. Like, you might have mentioned that some people like Prism, and like, it's like when I saw like you were cosplaying that, like I was personally excited. I'm like, that's really cool. I've not seen this person before. Like, I would love to get to know her, kind of thing. So yeah, it definitely does bring people together. Like, people do get excited for their cosplays and for other people's cosplays. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, we're all massive nerds. We love this game. We love seeing them brought to life. That's so cool.
If you were around when OG Prism, which I know you were, but if you would have been around when OG Prism LL'd, like being on Twitter at that time, it felt like people were acting like the world was ending. Like, people really love Prism.
Yeah.
Prism is like one of those heroes that has a cult following for sure. I remember when that period with no Prism, because OG Prism LL'd, and people were like, I don't know if I've ever seen people mourn like that.
I had to mute my group chat because I'm like the Prism player in my local and everyone else hates her. So they were all doing the opposite. They were celebrating like we're free from the shackles of this oppression. And like, I was just like, I can't deal with this. I am too emotionally destroyed right now. But yeah, no, I love that as well. And like, you just said that you were, you have been not necessarily the top of the top players, but you do love competitive play. You love clean gameplay. And of course, you've even bought Marvels for your collection, and I presume to play with.
Yes.
what is it that draws you towards Flesh and Blood, both as a game and as like a gaming community? Stepping aside from the cosplay for a minute, and like you've made comparisons to Magic and stuff as well. So like, what is it about this gaming community that really brings you in to Flesh and Blood?
I really like, first of all, I like the way that the game plays. I like that it feels like I'm never necessarily out of the game. I always have options, and my options that I make within the game, like my decisions, really matter. Whereas sometimes, sorry, I'm going to keep referencing Magic, but sometimes in Magic, you can get mana screwed or things like that, or your opponent just builds up such a board state that there's like nothing you can do to overcome that.
Yeah.
And in Flesh and Blood, I feel like, sure, I can get really behind, but there are always decisions that I can make that can kind of try to help me get back, or, the decisions that I make early game can affect me later game. If I use an equipment early and then I don't have AB later, things like that. I just really like that. What I feel like every game, even if I lose, there's something that I can think about my decisions that really affected the outcome, and I can improve from that rather than just being like, oh, I only had one land. I only had one island, I've also played One Piece as well. And that game, you have a set curve that you hit, and it kind of just becomes a formula, kind of more like chess, where that game felt kind of very formulaic. Like, I have this card, I have to play this and do this and do this. Whereas Flesh and Blood, I'm making the decisions and I can use the cards for however do I want to block with it? Do I want to pitch with it? Do I want to play with it? So I really like the game from that sense. And then from a community sense, I have just had such a nice experience with the community locally and when I've traveled to bigger events. Everybody is so nice and so welcoming. And even so, when I first learned to play, in the morning I did a learn to play, and I don't necessarily recommend this, but then in the evening I did like a big tournament, and it was kind of crazy because like every game I sat down, I was like, hey, okay, I just learned how to play this game. If I mess up, I'm not trying to cheat. And my opponents would help me. They'd walk through like, okay, my card's gonna do this, and then this. Whereas, and I feel like other card games, it would be after the game, my opponents would be like, you're so silly. You didn't realize my cards did this, and you did this, and you're so silly. Like, that was such a bad move. Whereas in Flesh and Blood, I feel like people want the best gaming experience. So they don't want you to always make those kind of like gotcha moments. They want to be like, okay, this is what my card does. And if you do this, it's going to have +1. Things like that. They don't always want those gotchas. And they're also it's such a giving and sharing community. When I first started playing, I mentioned that I was playing Verdance, I think, and I had Plume, and then I think very shortly after I started playing, Plume was banned. So I just had a really basic helm because I was like, I don't want to spend money on a helm right now. This helm I bought just got banned. And people who I literally showed up to my first armory were like, here, borrow my card, take this card. And they're like, you can just hold on to it. I'm like, you just met me. You don't know me. And it's also doesn't have to do with sometimes, unfortunately, being a girl in a gaming scene. Sometimes you're treated differently because you're a girl. But I've learned that people aren't any nicer to me because I'm a girl. Or they also don't look down on me because I'm a girl. I felt that the most within the Flesh and Blood community. I'm treated just like everyone else, which I've really appreciated. And just the amount of times that people are willing to share, and I don't feel like I have to prove myself before I'm their friend. They're just like, oh, you're here? This is your first night at an armory? We're friends. Not like I need to see you at the armory 5 times and then I realize you're serious about the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that from a community perspective, what you said about there's not a lot of moments when you tell someone you're new to the game and like playing. Most players don't have like that gotcha moment where they're trying to do. I feel like one thing about Flesh and Blood is that everyone who plays this game we just want more people to play this game. So it's like the constant teaching. And I also agree with everything that you said about like the actual gameplay aspect. also played like Magic and One Piece, and like One Piece is fun. But I just like enjoy it with friends in a tabletop setting. I feel like I could never go and play this for like 3 days straight at a convention the way that I do with Flesh and Blood, because it's like Flesh and Blood is there's so many decision points. It's like keeps you, every game is so different and it's so engaging rather than just having that like curve. Anyway,
Yeah. No.
I agree. I love Flesh and Blood.
Engaging was definitely the word I was thinking of there, right? Like you mentioned, the other games are kind of formulaic. With like One Piece being like, if you don't hit your curve, you're probably falling behind. With Magic, if you don't hit your lines, you're probably falling behind. And like you said, with like Flesh and Blood, you have decision trees from the get-go. Look at your opening hand, and like if you think at the very basic level that a card can pitch, block, or attack, or be played rather, and you have that times 4 across 4 cards, like your decision trees is massive from turn 0 onwards. Not including equipment and all that. And those do have longer effect on the game. And then of course, like for me at least, I find because you will see the majority of your deck, if not the entirety of your deck multiple times depending on the matchup, you both have this inevitability of I will see all these cards, how do I play to that? And then also like what happens if I don't get to that point because my expectations for seeing specific cards are different compared to another card game. I don't know. It's also just the most fun for me, personally. And like, you know, I work at a game store. I've played a lot of different games. I'm still playing a lot of different games, but every time I come back to Flesh and Blood, I'm like, oh, right. This is what enjoying a game feels. Which is me. I do like playing other games, but for the most part, I play other games because I like specific people and I want to hang out with them. But competitively, Flesh and Blood is the one that does it for me.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't really know what it's like to enter the Flesh and Blood community new because I was here when the game started. So I don't have that same sort of experience of people being like, oh, here's some cards during the game. But I've definitely been on the other side of it. Like, you know, just trying to get people in, lending cards to people, and then honestly, sometimes I forget. I remember one time, like, I don't know how many months later, somebody was like, oh, Kiki, here's like your legendaries back. I'm like, when did I give these to you? Thanks for being honest, I guess. And yeah, I can't remember the last time my opponents have missed a tunic trigger and me not just being like, just put it on, it's fine. Have your counter, I don't care, I want to play the game as it kind of should be, you know? And like, I know that's my general perspective, but I also know that's most people's general perspective in this game, is that they just want to have a good game and good experiences. Totally agree with all the stuff you said. And what does he think of the game?
Yeah, Toast really loves to knock the cards off the table. That's his favorite part about the game.
My cats love chewing on inner sleeves. I have to be really careful. They're nowhere around. Otherwise, they love that part of the game.
It's just this one. This is the bad, mischievous one. The other one could care less about Flesh and Blood, honestly. Unfortunately, unfortunately. But you've also recently been tackling the task of trying to grow your online presence within the community. So this is like from making engaging posts that sprinkle some humor and also clear love for the game, as well as creating some short form content, which Kiki and I also love to do ourselves. But what's the like draw for you personally to enter this creator space? Like, what do you hope to achieve? What challenges do you foresee or have already foreseen? Like,
Yes. My kind of driving force behind trying to grow my social media presence is honestly just my love for the game and wanting to share it. Like I said last night, I was teaching it to my friends who play Magic because all the time they're like, come play Magic. And I'm like, no, come play Flesh and Blood. Like, trust me, come play Flesh and Blood. And just spending all this time thinking about it and wanting to share it has made me want to share it to more people around. And then also, I was chosen to be one of the sponsored cosplayers, and I went to the London world premiere, and I made a bunch of friends there. and I wanted to have somewhere outside of Discord where I could share, photos and share my experience with them and kind of keep up with what they're doing, as well as show other people who may not know about the cosplay side or maybe like intimidated or just any part of the game, that like join it, like do it. It's so much fun and everybody's so welcoming. So that's kind of where. Also, I've played other card games and I've watched so many different creators. I have so many different creators who I look up to within different spaces for different games. And I've never felt like there was a place for me in those games. Like I didn't feel like I had anything that I could say about Magic that hasn't already been said. But with Flesh and Blood, I feel like it's such a welcoming community that my voice would be welcomed and people would engage with me and, kind of support me if I wanted to grow. And, so that's why I was like, okay, now's my chance to try and hopefully it'll work out. But if not, I'm just having fun trying to do it. But it has been very interesting. It's one of those things where you feel silly doing it. Like I filmed my first TikTok last week and I felt very, I've never filmed it before. So you feel a little silly. You're in your room and you're dressing up and I'm trying to like Google how to film a TikTok. I feel like an old lady being like, how to use the internet. When my grandma calls me and she's like, how do I do this? That's how I felt. But I honestly had so much fun where it doesn't matter how silly in the moment I feel. I'm like, I really liked it. And then the fact that I honestly expected it to post it and it to not do well or anything, but people liked it and they're like, oh, this looks so good. And I was like, wow, like I didn't expect that response. I was literally I was really tired. I was hungry at the end of it. And I was like, I spent so long trying to do this. I'm just going to post it. I don't care anymore. But people liked it and it really encouraged me to want to keep doing it. Also, like I've mentioned, I'm not that super high level player, but I still like to go to events. I love playing side events and stuff. And I also wanted to share that to people, that side of the game, to people who, again, may not know, may come from other games, that just because you don't qualify for a pro tour, you can still go and play side events and sometimes have more fun than if you're on the pro tour scene, because in Magic, you can kind of do the same thing, but you really need that RC and that Pro Tour qualifier to go to those high-level events. So that's another side of the game that I'm like, I want to show people. There's actually a One Piece content creator. I'm forgetting her name. I'll let you know so we can add her name in here, but she's really good, and she kind of has that same side of the community for One Piece that she displays, and I really would like to make similar content to her for Flesh and Blood.
I think I know the one you're talking about, but I also don't remember the name. I could be real vague and be like, she has dark hair, but
Yeah.
and totally, side events can definitely be a highlight of a pro level event. Despite that, I think about Worlds Japan in 2024, and the main event was fun. More fun playing the side event with Elaine, where we somehow managed to have the same record throughout the entire tournament.
And never pair.
And never paired until we recorded the game ourselves outside of the event itself. But yeah, there's so much fun to be had, and that creative process you're talking about with creating videos and shorts. Elaine mentioned earlier, we all do that. We love making the short videos, potentially, arguably more than we do these full video things, because we just get to be silly with it, fun with it. I don't know if you've seen or noticed, but our spoiler videos are always in the form of short form content. And even before that, there was 1 week where I was sick and I'm gonna try to figure out how to make these short videos. So I have one TikTok video and it's what I eat in a day as a Flesh and Blood player, but really I'm just eating cards. It's the one TikTok video I've done, and but the creative processes of making these videos, whether it be long form or short form, is so much fun. So I totally get the appeal of that, and just making people laugh or enjoy the game is great.
Yes.
I also enjoy that some nights I can't go to an armory, or some nights, I don't want to go out. But it's just also another way for me to engage with the game or like the hobby that's different than just, playing the game as well.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah, really good point. It's like I feel like people are like, like you missed armory this week. You didn't do any flesh and blood. I'm like, I feel like because of this channel, I do flesh and blood every day. It's way, shape, or form. I'm engaging with the game because I'm editing or recording, and it's so fun and I love it. But also love playing the game, obviously, which is why it's all part of what we do. And it is Sage season, so you attended, as we've already spoke about, the Compendium of Wraith premiere event. Congratulations.
Thank
Your
you.
cosplay was wonderful. And as previously mentioned, you've been hunting for those sweet, sweet marbles, young heroes. So maybe we talked a little bit about this when we talked about our weeks in Flesh and Blood, but what hopes do you have for the Sage format? And if you're so bold, what hero are you looking to bring to any Sage ProQuest event you'll be attending, and why?
Yes. First of all, I've had to buy my marbles. I've had the worst luck with this set. I feel like everybody I know is pulling heat from Compendium, and I have just been getting duds. So I've had to buy my marbles, but they're so pretty. It's okay. I really like, just from a beginner standpoint, that it's so easy for me to have my friends and say, hey, we can sit down for a 30-minute game and we only have 20 life to deal with, rather than, okay, we're going to sit down for an hour. It's going to be 40 life. You have all these things to take care of. So I love, selfishly, Sage for that reason, because I do have friends who I'm trying to kind of teach about the game, and Sage has been such a easy way to do that and make it a lot easier. Also, it's a lot easier to tell your friends, like, hey, you can buy this $20 starter deck, rather than sending them a giant list on February and be like, go order all these cards. Good luck. So I really appreciate it for that reason. But I also, this weekend, I was in a Silver Age tournament, and it started at 1. It was 6 rounds, and I was home by 5. That was awesome. I loved that. I had like time in the evening to get ready for the rest of the day. And it's nice that to see heroes that, because I wasn't around earlier in the game, I know I'm not seeing them in their full CC form, but it is nice for me to kind of see and revisit these heroes, and even play some of these heroes that I missed out on because they've LL'd now. So I do like it for that reason. And I have been playing Fi, and Fi was the first marvel I purchased for the Silver Age, because again, I haven't pulled a marvel for Silver Age. So I have been playing Fi a lot, and he's who I am kind of focusing my energy on, but I have thrown around some other decks, but nothing has I don't feel as confident on the other decks as I do on Fi competitively right now.
Yeah, I mean, Fi is really good in this format.
I mean,
I
was just gonna
go
say,
ahead,
like,
Kiki.
this can be an open question to all of us. We can all talk about our ProQuest choices and why.
I also will be on Fi because I 4-0'd with him, and it was really fun. I like playing him a lot. So
Like I mentioned, I'll be on Enigma. I just enjoy these sort of, like, not necessarily slower, but like these weird kind of defensive decks almost. Like, I don't know. If anybody's ever watched our pitch play series, which you haven't, you should. We don't do a lot of blocking there, not our vibe. But I don't know. I've found this across every card game I play. I like this weird stress of playing from behind and having this sort of comeback and taking a bunch of damage at the start only to try to guard my way. I don't know why I find that fun, but I do. Like, I feel I need to feel something. I need to feel alive and to have like these near death experiences in a card game to feel something. I don't know. It helps that she's very aesthetic. Like aesthetic heroes are an important choice to me. I refuse to play a hero that I don't like the aesthetic of. But
Me too.
Yeah.
exactly.
No.
No. It has to fit the vibe. But I do think she's like okay positioned into like the defensive decks, and I think I can be somewhat okay into the more aggressive decks if I play well enough. So we'll see how that goes though, because I have a karaoke tonight, and my event's tomorrow morning. So.
My pro quest, I also have a party that night before. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe if I keep. No, I'm not gonna play pro quest. Nope, never mind. Forget it. I didn't say anything, so don't even try and figure out what I was gonna say.
Yeah, clearly here at the Pitch Perfect podcast, we take competitive events very seriously and prepare with the utmost preparation.
It's what we're known for. So
Side question, since we're talking about the Sage format, there's benching in this format. Which 3 heroes would you bench if you had to vote right now?
gosh, I am a hater.
Azalea, Lexi, Ripton.
Ranger.
That has been done any.
No, let me be serious. I can't think of any when I don't want out of here that's not a ranger. Hold on. There is like an answer. And I like kind of liked playing Azalea, but I do still think I don't like playing against a ranger. Arachne, I don't like Arachne playing against an Arachne, fight or flight, like, so we can Riptide can stay.
So is it Lexi, Azalea, Arachne for you?
Baby,
You've tackled like
come back to me.
you've tackled like 1% of the metagame.
Come back to me.
Okay, Ren, who would you give a little
I
rest?
agree with Arachne.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with Arachne. Arachne does kind of trigger that fight or flight for me, but I feel like that's more of a me problem. I'm just not good with Arachne. I don't know why, but I'm not good. And then Briar's been kicking my butt locally. Briar's been kicking my butt.
I love Briar. That's my girl.
I do too. I think she's so cool looking, but I'm not playing her, so it feels bad when I match into her.
I would also like the caveat to be on tape that I believe truly in my heart of hearts that everything is a me problem. Like all my hate, for certain, not hate.
Disdain.
I can't think of another word. Dislike doesn't feel strong enough. No, I'm judged.
Somewhere between hate and dislike.
Yeah, so whatever makes it sound nice. It is a me problem, though. I'll give it that. It's a me problem. It's a trauma response, so it's nothing against the players.
This is just Elaine trying to get out of getting clipped again. And called out.
Yep. Just so people will stop clipping me and posting it on Twitter. What about you, Kiki?
I think Briar is a reasonable hit. The numbers are kind of too absurd, especially in a 20 life format. Like, her deck is very similar to her classic constructed like iteration way back when she was quite good, to put it mildly. So I think at the moment, like, without any changes to other heroes and an increase in their power, I think Briar is probably similar to Chain, and they're kind of too powerful for maybe what the intention of the format is. But Chain's already hit, so we don't need to worry about him. I do kind of have like a concern for like the Guardian / Warrior decks kind of being too how do I put it, like, prohibitive, I guess, towards, like, playing the game. And, like, it's nice to, like, have control as an option in the game. But maybe they take it a step too far. But, you know, they're kind of dropping down popularity as people kind of figure out ways to beat. So, like, maybe it's okay. My main struggle with, like, hitting either Guardian or Warrior is that they have so many heroes that it doesn't really matter because it's, like, the deck itself. It's, like, Decimator Great Axe is the problem. It's not Dorinthia or Kasai or Fang or Olympia. It's Decimator Great Axe that's the problem. That was a cop-out answer. I don't know which one of those to ban. I'd ban Dromai personally because she's good against them.
I just don't think Dromai has historically never really been good in a 20 left like format. But I was gonna make the same point that you made about the Warriors and the Guardians. It's like you can't really hit them by hitting a hero because like the decks are so transferable between all the heroes in that class. And as a serious answer, no memes. I don't see Azalea or Lexi or
Marionette. Not Marionette.
Marionette as a
Arachne.
problem. Maybe Arachne, I don't know. But I do think Briar is like a reasonable hit. I just don't want to see her go because I love her so much. But yeah.
I think if I was to hit a Guardian, it'd be Oldham. Because of the Guardians, he's the only
You'd
one
hit
who
a
has, like...
Guardian?
Sorry?
I said you'd hit a Guardian?
Well, if I was to hit one, it'd be Oldham just... Oh.
Sorry.
I mean, Peck Perfect, am I right? We did a spoiler for Master Pack Guardian. We were confused as to why we had a Guardian spoiler, and then they gave us a shirtless man. We're like, we get it now. We understand. And I'm surprised that LSS has continued to give us spoilers despite the fact that we used It's Raining Men on an official spoiler video, and it's banned in Belarus. Like, you can't watch this video in Belarus. I don't know if that's a big Flesh and Blood scene. If it is, I apologize once again to all the people in Belarus. But back on track, I'd hit Oldham because he's, of the Guardians, he's the one who has the capability to play defensively without losing a card in his deck. Like, because of the Oldham hero ability, he can defend a lot more than the other ones can. And that might be what pushes it over the top if I was to hit a Guardian. But no, I reckon you probably hit, like, Miller's Grindstone again, to be real. I think cards need to be banned in addition to the benching.
That's not our problem.
That's
Throw
kind of
it
our
out the
problem,
window
but we
for
can't
LSS.
solve it. It's not
We
our
can't
solution
solve
to fix.
it.
Wow,
That was... Yeah, so we have a special segment planned for Rin. As a, the Prism cosplayer, this segment will be which of Prism's angels could you cosplay, and it will kind of be in the format where we give you two options, you pick one, it stays, and then
another one
loser
comes
gets
in.
thrown out, another cosplay. Yeah, everyone knows how it goes.
It's
It'll be
elimination.
great.
We don't have the little images in front of us. Do you know what they look like?
I also have my phone pulled up just so I can make sure
Perfect.
that I'm thinking of the right one.
Great. Okay. So I'm going to be referring to the back of the figments here. So I'll be going by name as opposed to the figment on front. So the first two options are Themis and Avalon.
Avalon. Oh, I love Avalon.
Mhm.
I think she's so pretty.
So we're going with Avalon.
Yes, we're going with Avalon for this one.
Fun fact, Carolina cosplayed that one in Australia.
Yep.
And she had some massive wings that we were trying to repair last minute because they broke on the flight over. And then I was her rock that she was sitting on. It was a very last minute
That's
decision.
so
I jumped on
cool.
the stage and I knelt down because she needed a seat and they wouldn't give her one, so I was the rock. Anyway, Avalon stays, and now we are moving on to something quite a bit different. We have Second, the Archangel of Ravages.
I still like Avalon.
You're so valid for that. Those wings are gorgeous. Now for maybe the most controversial of the angels gameplay-wise, Soraya. Avalon and Soraya.
Ooh, I do like Soraya. Let me.
She has a very different vibe. I don't like. She doesn't have like the same sort of winged angel aesthetic that the other ones do. She's definitely
She
Yeah.
has. Yeah, her wings are like mechanical.
and like they're there, but
I
it
don't-
doesn't showcase as much the other aesthetics. I think.
I don't know how I would cosplay, but I feel like Soraya could be interesting.
I mean, you can just look at like Chapel Roan wearing a suit of armor as like inspiration, and then work from there. She has like the flowing red curly, and
Her
kind of an
looks
armor
are-
vibe.
Off topic, but her looks are.
We are all fans here. So Raya's the pick from there.
Yes.
Okay. And now to go to a bright aesthetic again, we are going with Victoria, the Archangel of Triumph.
Ooh. It would be fun to carry around the giant banner. And her wings are ginormous.
Huge.
I would be a safety hazard wherever I went.
I would both love
think
and
she would
hate to
be
be on the table next to you.
Yeah. I would have my own table.
Who needs security when you have your
Um,
wings?
Yeah, exactly. I think because of that, I would stay with Soraya, but Victoria is also very cool.
Okay, we are over halfway. We now have Metis, the the Archangel of Tenacity. This one has a much more like classic fantasy vibe to her.
I do think Metis would be cool. I would need to get a little more muscles, I feel like, before I could like really, but she's so cool. I like strong looking, like she looks like she's an angel and she's cool, but looks like she could also punch you in the face.
Yeah, she's very like warrior feeling.
Mhm.
I love that.
I was saying she's like kind of like Valda. Valda was one of the angels almost. Sorry, which one are we sticking with though? Which one are we going with?
Oh, sorry. We're gonna switch over to Metis
Tomato?
this time.
Okay. The downside is that she's also the unplayable or the least playable of the one. Probably the least recognizable for non-Prism fans.
True, but that's also the great thing about cosplay. Doesn't
Exactly.
matter if it's playable or not.
You're introducing people to the character, right?
There was this is off topic, but
Go
there
for
was a really good song of Sinu cosplay in London, and she looked amazing, but her dress was green, so everybody was like, "Are you Tunic?" And she was like, "No, I'm not Tunic."
Poor girl. Just putting so much effort into it only to be the tunic. I mean, Tunic's great and all, but no, that
Yeah.
also a different vibe. But we're staying on the same vibe as we have another strong feminine angel in Bologna.
Ooh. Oh.
This one does look like Kasai is an angel.
Yes, she does. I think I would stay with Metis, but she's also. Oh, they're all so pretty. I feel like everyone. It's such a hard. I feel like any day I could flip flop between because they're all so pretty.
Yeah, no, they are. But the last one is my personal favorite one, so there's a right answer. No, I'm kidding. There's a right answer. Aegis, the Archangel of Protection.
Oh, and I'm not saying this because it was mentioned that it's somebody's favorite right before, but I would switch to Aegis. I think she's so pretty.
She's been on my cosplay list since she came out. I love her and her art. Like, oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. She's my favorite too. So
She is just beautiful. Yeah.
And now you have to do it. We didn't tell you this, but now you are contractually bound. Thank you very much for being here.
we look forward to seeing it. All right. We have some listener questions. We've got a little long, which I myself don't mind, but we can go as quickly through these as you want. I don't know if everyone has things they need to get going
Not
for,
far.
but Not today. Okay, we're all good. Okay, we can take our time. Sorry, listeners, you're stuck with us
Or you're
for
welcome,
the foreseeable
listeners.
future.
You're still with us.
All right, our first question comes from Discord from Darth Prentice. Greg. Ren, what's your favorite variety of pickle? Is the first question. I did not read that before.
I definitely read this before.
I did not even read it, and that is so funny.
I love it. Hard-hitting journalism. I like whole pickles. First of all, I don't like
Okay.
I don't, if I'm gonna have them in my fridge, I don't like when they're spheres because
Right.
I don't know, texture thing. And I like just a good classic pickle or like a little spicy in it, but I don't know my pickle variety names, but just a good classic sour pickle.
It's like a nice dill pickle, maybe with some spice. That is really, really good. I don't know if you know, Rin, but I myself have a reputation amongst the Flesh and Blood community for being the pickle queen, which is
That sounds like
really
you're asserting
funny. I
dominance.
didn't
Like,
read that
you might not know
question.
this, but I actually
Just
run
the-
the pickle community in Flesh and Blood.
It's just because of
Pickle cabal, that's me.
the way I laughed at it. Like back in my early days of Flesh and Blood, my very first tournament, I was going to, like an all-day tournament, and I was like, what do I need to bring? And everyone was like, snacks, you're gonna get so hungry. And like, I'm like a normal person who would bring like granola bars. I was like, snacks, I love pickles. And so I brought like pickles to the convention to like eat between my rounds, and the reputation has stuck with me for now 4 years. Next question. Do you have a favorite breed of dog?
Oh. I
This feels so out of left field.
I like
Considering it's like cat lover, loves cats, cat cuddler. What dog do you like?
Dog do you like? Talk to us about dogs.
I like corgis a lot, and there are some corgis that live in my neighborhood, and I would time my walks outside when they would go on their walks so that I could see them and watch them shake their little butts. So I would go with corgis, but I really like cats. I have 4 cats. I also like dogs. I'm not like, oh, I hate dogs, but I just am not as well versed in different dog breeds.
I feel like for some reason corgi is like the most cat person answer you could have given. And I don't mean that as a bad thing.
They're about the right size.
It just makes
Yeah,
like aesthetically I feel like it makes sense for cat lovers to like love a corgi. I don't know why. That's just a vibe. And then last question from Dorth Prentice. Which Flesh and Blood hero did not read these ahead of time. These are funny. Which Flesh and Blood hero is most likely to brush their teeth but not floss?
Thank you, Greg, for these questions.
Who's not gonna floss? But they brush their teeth.
Yeah. So I think some of these people just like straight up don't brush their teeth, but this one brushes their teeth, just doesn't floss.
Removing Riptide immediately.
That when I said some of these people, I was thinking of Riptide. I feel like I actually have an immediate answer.
I have an immediate answer for who does floss. And that would be flips through the cracks. But it flosses with their sword. This giant ethereal being just like doing dental care with its sword? Like, yeah.
It's in the name, yeah.
Flip through the cracks. The food.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have to get them out.
The crack of the teeth. Anyway,
I don't know why, but my brain's telling me Florian.
I could see that. It's like very like he's just got that like I'm a like teenager emo vibe, which my immediate thought was Fi, because I'm like he's definitely like the gamer kid is like brush your teeth, and he's like, oh, okay mom, like really quick, but like just then throw the toothbrush in the sink, not gonna floss, keep going.
And a different take altogether. what if it's Verdance? Because, kind of has like alternative medicine vibes almost. Yeah, like probably has a different method that's not flossing. That's like her go-to.
I was also thinking Verdance after I said Florian. I was like, I also think Verdance. I agree. She'd probably do like oil pulling or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a brother like that, so that makes sense to me. Not to call him my brother, anyway.
Thank you, Greg, for those insightful questions.
Thank you very much. Our next question comes from Fabled Hero in Z in our Discord as well, Lynette.
From Shapeshifters Array.
Lyn-
You should probably be on there at some point.
Lynette, you looked Lynette said, you looked amazing. You looked amazing. What made you choose Prism to cosplay, and where did you find that book?
I really want to cosplay older Prism and some of her figments as well, but they seem really, really hard. And when they made the announcement that they wanted younger heroes, I was looking at what younger heroes there were, and I was like, well, this Prism seems like a stepping stone to doing older Prism. She has some of the elements and some of the skills that I would need to learn to do older Prism, but it's a lot less and a lot more doable than her adult form. So that's kind of where I chose to do Prism. It also, like I said, Prism was the hero when I was online searching up what hero I wanted to learn to play. Even though she wasn't the first one I learned to play, Prism was the hero that I was like, I really like her. So it also just felt right that my first cosplay outside of Frankie would be Prism. And the book, it's from Amazon. I looked it up and it just seemed so perfect that I was like, okay, I hit my 75% mark. I can buy this book and have it. And I really like it, except I was taking a photo with James White and he was like, can I look at your book? I was like, it's just a journal, but sure. And he was like inspecting it. I was like, I didn't make it. I wish I could tell him I made it, but I did not make it.
Does he know?
Yeah, and he was like, that's cool. And I don't know why he wanted to look at it, but he inspected it.
Just curious. Who knows? Maybe that book will show up in Prism 3 when she inevitably comes out. Speaking of 3, next question comes from Deviled 3 Eggs. It's Alex. From Deviled Eggs. This goes to everyone. First of all, there's a little emoji with hearts in it. They use a lot of emojis. Wanted to ask what your favorite aesthetics in Fab are. I, being Alex, love the East Asian art and mystic cards so much because of my heritage. So what are your favorite aesthetics? There's more to this question as it goes on.
Okay. I really love Prism's aesthetic. I don't think that that's like surprising to hear.
It's a brave choice.
I love the celestial angelic aesthetic. And then I love Poison Ivy. So I also love Verdance and that kind of earth aesthetic as well. And I like that there are such different aesthetics in the game to choose from. So that's also a very cool thing that I enjoy.
Elaine.
My favorite aesthetics in Fab are actually like not what I play. I love the like dark aesthetics and spooky aesthetics of like the shadow and rune blades, but that's why I've been begging LSS for years for a shadow warrior, because of course warrior is my favorite class to play. And I will also say I love Gravy Bones along in that like same vein. I love like the dead, piratey, crimey, like that. And then completely opposite from that, I don't think I would ever like play it because it's not the aesthetic that like I enjoy playing. But sitting across from like a fully max rarity Prism deck, like nothing compares to that. It's so pretty. It's actually blinding, honestly. I think it's a strategy to like blind me so I can't actually play the game. Because it's just gorgeous. So how about yourself, Kiki?
Um, a courageous take. I really like Prism. Um, no, there's a recurring joke that like I usually tend to play like the more femme characters kind of thing. Just coincidentally. Um, so like I've been known to play like Prism and Syndrome more recently. And they had the same artist, which is Livia Prima. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So there's kind of a joke that like my fab aesthetic is her art. And I was looking at other heroes that I've played in the past. I got into the game because of Dorinthia. Like she was the first hero that I felt drawn towards and attached to. And I've also, when Rosetta came out, like Verdant was the character that I wanted to like get into and delve. And they also share an artist, which is Liu Sasahito. So I guess my aesthetic is these two artists and what they do. For about 2 to 3 years, I played basically exclusively Mechanologist, hence the puff and there. But it was specifically like the original Dash. And everyone's like, oh, you're like a Mechanologist, you love Mechanologists and stuff. And like, if we compare it to like The Legend of Korra, for example, like Asami's my favorite character, I'm like, this kind of makes sense. And yeah, but I don't actually like the Mechanologist aesthetic, which is weird. I love the aesthetic of Dash specifically, but Mechanologist doesn't do it for me. My aesthetic is, for the most part, honestly, like Solana. Like, if you look at Dorinthia and Prism, like, they're the ones that have drawn me in for the most part.
That's so funny because mine is the Demonastery. Look at us.
I mean,
fire and ice, baby.
Our lighting right now is literally the same thing.
No, with the cat ears though, which is why I also like, I didn't say it. Aurora is like the most cute girly pop. Like I love the pink, the purple. Ooh, I love that too.
Yeah.
But I also am just more drawn to the dark side, unfortunately.
You can't see it from where I am, but my partner really, they only play Vincent. They love Vincent, and they have the giant Vincent card. I have a giant Vincent poster on my walls. I joke that my house is decorated like an LGS now. So I also have that going on where I really like the light side and they really like the dark side. They're so edgy and cool.
Yeah. My house is literally, like, this was in my store. And I have other posters in my lounge that are literally from my store that just aren't being used anymore. I'm like, I'll decorate with them. So now specifically, Ren, what drew you to Prism? And who do you think you'll try next? We kind of tackled this already. We know that you're going to be doing an Angel cosplay. We've signed a verbal contract. But yeah, why Prism, and who do you think you're going to try maybe outside of the Prism spectrum?
Regarding cosplay?
Yes.
Or playing?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, Prism, I really like the aesthetic of Angels, and she's the one, when I was looking through all the heroes, she's the one who I was like, I want to play her. So it felt right that she was the first hero that I tried to cosplay, and there are going to be some more Prism cosplays coming, but I'm not just going to be exclusively a Prism cosplayer. There have been other heroes that I've been looking at. I think Dorinthia is so cute, and I think doing her armor would be so much fun and such a challenge that I would really love to do it. I think Syndra is really cool, and I have a friend who I'm trying to convince. I also have to get her to play the game, but I think she'd make a really good Ira, and I want her to do Ira, and I would like to do Syndra with her. I think that would be a lot of fun. So those are the ones that I'm eyeing, but there is another Prism cosplay that I'm working on right now. I'm trying to do the Advent of Thrones Prism because I love her attitude in that card. She just has such tude, and I love it. So she's what I'm working on right now.
That's the You're Young hero, correct?
Yes.
See, you know, like she sees no play when I have to question whether she's Like she,
It was really funny.
Yeah.
In London, I was dressed up as Prism. I had the Prism playmat, but I wasn't playing as Prism, and people were like, yeah, that's probably a good choice.
yeah. I mean, the old Prism was like, you can play her in Silver Age. The new young Prism is literally unplayable, has no hero text. You can't play any figments, does nothing. And then Alex finishes off with, hope everyone's doing well, thank you for the amazing content. Heart emoji, egg emoji. So, thank you. Now, the next question, I think last question we have, is from someone that you have interacted with in person, that we've seen pictures. This is from Zalium, or Carlotta. Love her, been friends with her for a while, through Flesh and Blood, of course. And she says, I'd love to know more about Rin's plans for 2026. Can't wait to have fun again at another event together.
I can't wait to see her either. She is so nice. I was really nervous going to the sponsored cosplay event. I had a lot of, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but I've had a lot of imposter syndrome showing up because this was my first time doing something like this. I was like, why'd they pick me? They're going to see me and they're going to be like, turn around, leave, ew. And when I met her, she was just like so welcoming, so warm. It felt like we had been friends for years. And she's so nice, an amazing cosplayer. So it was just really an amazing experience getting to do that with her and everyone else as well. They were all so nice. But my plans are, my next Fab tournament I'm going to PT Yokohama. And then I'm also planning on going to Vegas. Hopefully I'll get a qualifier, but if not, I'm still going to be there grinding side events. And I'm also not Fab related. I'm going to go to Comic-Con this year. That's where I'm hoping to do Syndra and Ira with my friend. I don't think LSS is going to be there this year, but I will hopefully still be there in cosplay. And then Worlds is in Europe, and I wasn't intentionally planning to go, but I had so much fun with all the friends I made in London that I'm hoping that I can go to Worlds this year and hang out with everybody again because I had so much fun.
Beautiful. Sounds like a great time.
What a nice note to end the podcast on. That's so fun. So many Flesh and Blood events in the future. I'm really jealous, so maybe I'll see you at some.
I hope so. Or I had a family member move to New York, so hopefully if I visit them, we can meet up.
Yeah, definitely let me know if you're ever here. I love hanging out with people.
I can't afford to fly anywhere, so you can never come down to New Zealand if you want. But again,
I would love to. New Zealand is on the top of my places I really want to go. So I'm hoping that would work out sometime.
Perfect. Well, unfortunately, that's all we have for you today. It's been wonderful to have you. Great to get to know you and learn more about you. And of course, we would like everyone else to get to know more about you. So, how can people find you, and where do you want them to find you? I guess you don't have to give out all of your socials, just the ones that you want people to go to.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing. I had so much fun. It was a pleasure meeting you all. It feels like I'm just hanging out with friends, which is so nice. I am on Instagram, X, Bluesky, and TikTok as the Threaded Rin. So you can join me on whichever one of those you prefer. And then hopefully one day I'll be on YouTube, and I'll let that link shared on my socials when that happens. But for now, those are my socials.
Perfect. Well, make sure to put those in the bio. So there's those 4 channels. Of course, you can find myself at kikibird.bsky.social, at Kiki_LA93 on Twitter. And Elaine?
And you can find me on wherever you want to find me. I don't really care. At ehamontree. Eham on tree, like bacon on bush or pork on shrubbery. It's just one word. All right.
And of course, you can find ourselves on both at Pitch Perfect Pod, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
At Pitch Perfect Pod.
And of course on
On
YouTube,
X.
which you're probably watching, or if you're listening, Spotify or any other streaming services you are on. Ren, do you have any final shout out before we close off?
I just thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me, and thank you to all the cosplayers who have been so supportive and nice to me. It's just been a dream, and I love this community so much. So thank you, everyone.
Amazing. We've loved having you, and we're going to wrap this up, but we have another segment to film, just not in this video. So thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you all next time.